What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great day today. Now, as you guys could tell, I'm not in the studio. I don't have enough time to make a full-on video today, but I did want to bring you a bit of an emergency Bitcoin update. Now, if we have a look at the charts right here, you can actually see that it looks like Bitcoin is making an attempt to push a little bit lower out of this rising wedge. Now, also, in the same hand, you'll notice that the S&P is hitting some critical resistance as well right here. Now, why is this happening? Well, it's because today we actually have the FOMC minutes coming out at around 2 p.m. or 1800 UTC, if that's what you're if that's the time you go by. And ultimately, what is this? Well, yes, we already have the reports. We had the CPI numbers come out. We know how they dealt with it previously, but this is going to be a breakdown more specifically of the overall sentiment of the FOMC and what the Fed is going to be looking to do in the future. Now, there is already a lot of speculation around a 75 basis point raise. So if we do get 75 basis points, what would actually make it bearish would probably be the tone, right? Like how they speak about it, how hawkish they're looking to be moving forward, right? Now, on the flip side, if we get something a little bit more bullish, let's say we get a 50 basis point projection, right? They're thinking maybe they can start pivoting, pulling back a little bit. Well, then we may see markets react positively. But because markets hate one thing and they hate one thing the most, that is uncertainty. Currently, right now, we are seeing that sort of pullback, right? Not to mention that we do have some of those critical resistances as well. Now, although it does seem like we may have, peaked on inflation, there is the possibility that it's not as great as it seems. For example, Mark Moss says, yes, CPI went down in July, except, well, food went up by 10% and shelter, well, that went up by 38.3%. You can see he says right here, experts had expected the end of the summer to usher in a period of moderate price increases. So far, that hasn't been the case. But don't worry, guys, everything is under control. We also had Alex Gladstein pointing out we must now add the UK to the list. 10.1% inflation in the UK as the Brits join the 2 billion people living under double-digit inflation worldwide. Germans, Americans, and Indians next. So this is definitely pretty crazy. But let's dive in. Let's have a look at the charts. Like I said, today's not exactly the greatest day to be trading, but I will let you know if we get some bad news, where we could go, if we get some good news, where we could go, and overall just the market structure I'm looking at right now. So let's dive into the chart super quick. So ultimately, Bitcoin still remains in this giant falling wedge pattern, which is actually a bullish pattern. And we do ultimately expect a massive moonshot breakout to the upside. But unfortunately, you can see we are being held down by this heart line right here. And on top of that, we are in a smaller rising wedge, which is in fact a bearish pattern. So if Bitcoin is unable to break out of this, especially within the next few days, I would say the latest we have is about right here, August 26th, then yes, you could see Bitcoin potentially break to the downside. Now, I just want to point out that from bottom to top, guys, we did have about a 43% rally, and we also did hit that target specifically over here on Coinbase where we had this Terra Luna crash wick right here, which was a very pivotal moment for the overall market. So you could see that while the structure still is maintaining higher lows, this is good. We have, in fact, hit a resistance right here, and it looks like somebody's at my door. Sorry about that, guys. Had to answer the door super quick. So where were we? Let's get back in the charts. Anyway, so yes, as you guys can see right here, ultimately we are still holding this upwards trend. We do have to be careful about that. So let's have a look at what we could look at with some of these levels. So ultimately right here, you could see there is that uncertainty. We are pushing down potentially on this upward sloping trend. If we do break to the downside, we do have these smaller targets here at around 22.5 and 22 even, although more realistically, if we do get that fear, then the level you're looking to accumulate or to potentially put in a long is anywhere between 21,600 and 21,210. And I would say really, once you start to get around 20,700, then I would say that that's invalidated, because at this point we are now officially putting in a lower low on the short term, on the smaller time frame, which would be in fact bearish for Bitcoin. Now, on the flip side, if we do have the positive news, then all you want to do essentially is just close above this $23,800 level right here. And then the next target would be, again, the top of this rising wedge, which if we went straight up today would put us at around 25,250. And ultimately, that would bring us back to our higher goal of around 26,600. But ultimately today, guys, I wouldn't be taking too many many trades. If you do want to learn how to trade, though, you can get a $6,888 bonus on BitGet. Make sure that you check out the tutorial popping up in the corner of this video right now. I do believe that I have the best tutorial on the internet, and yeah, I highly recommend you guys check that out. But you can see right here, same thing for Ethereum, right? Ethereum starting to break, this trend right here, and same thing, if Ethereum breaks to the downside, then we're looking to reclaim this lower level right here at around 1714. And on the flip side, if we do get the good news and markets start moving up, then we're looking at this area at around 2170 up here. So same kind of concept going on. Now, there was also this interview with Kitco News that came out, and it had Kevin Wadsworth and Patrick Karam and their technical analysts over at Northstar and Bad Charts, and they actually were talking about maybe Bitcoin continuing to go a little bit lower. So this was the chart that they provided on the channel, and this is what they had to say. So looking at this chart, they said there are a number of technical analysis techniques and features of this chart that make it more probable it's going to break to the downside and head down towards that $10,000 to $12,000 target. I would assess the odds at around 70% to 80% likely that we break to the downside, and we do see lower lows with only about a 20 to 30% chance probability of moving to the upside. Now, obviously, we do have a lot of macro factors globally going on right now. We are seeing inflation running rampant. We are seeing the US start to put their foot down. There's situations going on, across over in Asia, right? So it's not exactly the greatest environment, not how it was the first time when Bitcoin was born out of the 2008, 2009 financial crisis. And really, let's be honest, guys, it essentially only really saw upside, from that point. Everything was going up. This is the first time that we've really seen Bitcoin in a sort of negative macro global situation with rampant inflation and bear markets, all across the world with potential looming recession, stagflation, right? Things like that, depressions. But I do want to have a look at the chart once again and just remind everybody that if we do dive in here, we had this market cipher indicator flashing with all four of our conditions right here, January 26, 2015, and you can see, boom, that marked the bottom. Same thing here, December 17th, 2018, we had that flash, boom, that was the bottom, and we did have that flash again. And ever since then, we have continued moving to the upside. Same thing over here. I actually posted this on my Twitter. Every single time we've ever had a bullish RSI cross under the 40, okay, on the weekly right here, you could see, boom, right there. That was on December 5th, 2011. The bottom was in. Same thing happened here on February 16th of 2015. Same thing happened here, January 28th of 2019, right, guys? Bottom's in, and we just had this flash right now. So is the bottom in? Well, we don't know for sure, but what we do know is that every single time we did have this indicator flash, within 60 to 130 days, the end of the bear market was over. So if history plays out again, as it usually does this mean that we potentially only have another 60, to about 130 days until the market ends? Well, as you can see right over here, Ether National pointed out that as of today, it seems that there are 600 days left until the halving in 2024. Bitcoin, which reached the bottom 600 days before the next halving on average, may have reached the bottom of the correction season. So if history was essentially to play out the way that it has in the past, then yes, we are in fact at the, we are at the bottom, we have bottom, and we are looking to have that recovery. However, if we are going through a completely unprecedented time in history and we go into, a decade-long issue of just horrible monetary policy and just, people with inflation continuing to go up and, rates raising and whatever it is, maybe they have their soft landing, but either way, guys, that's what we're looking at in the short term. So I just wanted to warn you guys, essentially keep an eye out on what goes on with that meeting, but also I wanted to show you some of those key levels, and just be careful if you are trading today. Obviously, it could get a little bit volatile. I don't personally prefer to trade news events. I prefer to more or less just trade technicals, but if you are interested in learning how to trade, make sure that you check out the tutorials popping up right here, right now. Until next time, stay crypto, and of course, peace out.